Hi, I'm Abby with Abby As Is, and today we are on episode 4, and we're doing a Mother's Day episode with real estate mamas. And I have two of my friends and fellow real estate mamas at ERA Doty Real Estate in Jonesboro on with me today. I have Hannah Beckwith and Kristen Grimes. Thank y'all for coming on today.
Thanks for
I'm
having
glad to be here.
Oh, I know. And what fun we're having. We are real estate mamas during COVID-19 with kids at home. So I think that we deserve like extra this year for Mother's Day, y'all. I mean, come on. It's been a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Well, Hannah, I'm going to start with you, Hannah. Tell me how long you've been in real estate and the ages of your boys.
Okay, so I've been in real estate about a little over 10 years, and my boys are 5 and 3.
Wow. So you were in real estate before you became a mom.
Yes, I actually started in real estate a little bit right before I got married. So yeah, my boys and my husband have been with me through the whole ride, pretty much.
Well, how did it change for you after you became a mom? How did real estate change for you?
Yeah, it's so definitely got more hectic. Adding 2 humans to your life really, I mean, that changes your whole schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that for me, it really changed the way I viewed or handled real estate. I think I got better at it. I think I got more organized because as a mom, you kind of have to schedule everything and you have to be prepared for everything and you have to plan like 10 steps ahead. And I think I got a little bit better at that part of it. But yeah, definitely, I mean, it has gotten more hectic, as far as answering phone calls in the evenings, whenever I'm home with the boys, that kind of stuff doesn't always happen. A lot of times I have to let it go to voicemail and call back later or whatever. But for me, it's more just the scheduling of everything has changed.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, Kristen, were you in real estate before you became a mom?
I was not in real estate before I became a mom. I have been in real estate for just a little over 4 years. So my kids are Carson will be 9 in August and Reese will be 6. Well, she will be 7 in November. So I had to juggle it all at once and incorporate that. So it was definitely a challenge, and it was a change for all of us.
Yes, most definitely. Well, I worked in healthcare and other types of marketing. I worked in marketing for quite a few years. And then I had a child and realized I needed a more flexible schedule. And so I got my real estate license. I think Henry was 3 because I've had it for 7 years and he's 10. So he had just turned 3. And it definitely is a blessing because you do have that flexibility. But at the same time, when you're working a traditional job, 8 to 5, you're done. When you pick him up at daycare at 5, you're done. And it's not that way with real estate. And so you do have to, like you both mentioned, you do have to juggle it and figure out how to still be mom and wear your mom hat at 7 o'clock at night. And if possible, show a house at 7 o'clock at night. And how can you do both? So it is different because you do not ever want to turn it off in our line of work because that's our business. We want to be available, but at the same time, you've got to juggle it and figure out how to make it all work for sure. So this is something that I find I've seen more, and I mean, I'm not a sexist person by any means, and I love men. And but do you ever feel like, and let's just be real here, that you're looked down upon because, well, I've got to go take care of the kids, or I've got to go pick up the kids, or I've got to get my child to therapy or to piano or to whatever. Whereas the male agents aren't doing that. Do you ever feel like you're less than, like you feel like you're looked upon because you're less than because you are hands-on mama? I mean, like, let's be honest here. Do you feel that way? Because I do.
It has definitely happened before. Like I have gotten that feeling, but I would say it's pretty seldom. And I that might just be the way I am because I just I would let that completely roll off me and completely ignore it if somebody did that to me. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know that it's really necessarily even men. I think it's women just as much.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right.
Or, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're probably a lot more critical of ourselves than other people are.
True. That is very true.
Yes, I do
uh,
think that we are more critical of ourselves, but I have been fortunate. I don't think that I have found that anybody has. Most of the time, if I mention, I've got to pick up my kiddo, or I might have one or the other with me. My clients have been really, open to that. Say that's fine. We understand. So, for the most part, I haven't had, crossed anyone that has made me feel any less than.
Now, I will say my clients I feel like respect me more because they see me juggle it.
Yes.
But as in our field, like fellow agents. And I also think it's who you surround yourself with and in your environment. And I changed my environment and who I was around. And I think that has helped with a mutual respect too. So I think it is finding the right place to be. At ERA, we call it ERA family, finding that place where you feel like I am enough. I am working hard. I shouldn't have to defend myself, But as Kristen, like you said, your clients are totally understanding of that. And I think it almost helps, it helps. They see us as real.
Yes, I do agree. And that we're trying, and yes, I totally think it's totally real. It's real life. We're not, it's, just the way life is.
No, and it's not HGTV. Those people don't have their kids in the car screaming and honking the horn.
yes.
They
Amen to
might,
that.
they
No,
just don't put it on camera.
and I agree with you too. I think that just being with the people that we work with, I think we've got a really good family that does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my son, especially my youngest, has had several like health issues, and that we've had to take him to, the doctor or the hospital, or, he's had a few surgeries. And every time that I tell people that, they always, what can I do for you? How can I help? So that has helped a lot. I mean,
Yes.
just having a support system with that.
Having a support system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. So we mentioned this, and I'm just curious because we all, you can't compare yourself to another mom. You're your own mom, and we that all the sayings about don't compare yourself. You're doing a good job. God gave you that kid for a reason. You're that mom for a reason. So we all deal with it differently. But how do you juggle being mom at 7:00 at night? And for me, I have a husband who works in agriculture, and he is gone a lot in the spring and in the fall. And so I don't live close to family. I live a few hours from family. And so a lot of times my child's in the backseat of the car, watching a DVD or something. How do you juggle that when you have to be hands-on mom and real estate agent? What does that look like for you? Do you have systems in place? Do you have like a little protocol? How do you do that?
Well, for me, I am very fortunate. I live near my parents. My dad is retired, and my mom has a flexible job. And so, anyway, most of the time, I'll call mom or dad, and they come to my rescue.
Great.
My husband works long hours, and so he's late getting in. And so, like I said, I'm fortunate they have gone with me before. And but anyway, I've got a good support system, and I've got people in my life that I can call and say, hey, I need to run so and so here or there or whatever, and they're like, just bring them over. So for the most part, that's the way I work. I'm able to work it out.
That's great. Hannah, how about you?
I will say that my husband is a saint. he typically will be the one to take care of them, pick up the boys at daycare after 5 if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically he's been available, and he's worked a few different jobs. He was working, actually the hardest one was while he was working in Truman, which he was for several years when we first started having kids. And yeah, he would just fly back that's about a 25-minute drive. Yeah. And fly back from work as fast as he could to get the kids. But he doesn't complain. He's always been really supportive of that. So he's usually the the one to do that. Now, if he's not available, usually my parents, one of them is available. I'm also blessed to have them close by in town. Or my sister, I have a lot of backup, but there has been a few times when I've had to take them with me too. It happens.
They're still little. When I started, Henry was about 3.5, and I didn't take him with me. I was afraid to do that. I was afraid that I would look like I didn't have my act together, And so there were friends that I would just dump him on. I'd go toward any lead I could. And I remember there being those summer nights that first summer saying, "Can I bring him to you? Can I bring him to you?" And they'd be like, "Do I need to bathe him? Do I need?" They would like help me, like get him ready for bed, and I'd just throw him at him. But now that he's older, he can kind of self-contain. But there's so many funny stories about him being that little and having to go with me. And I will say my husband is supportive, but his job is so demanding of his time, and it takes him into, all different states in the South, and he's not just a phone call away a lot of times. But when he is home, he is helpful. But there's so many funny stories. And one of them is I was shown a new construction to this couple, and Henry was like, it was there in the very beginning of my real estate career, and he was just mastering the potty, okay? And he didn't know how to hold it. And so he did number 2 in this new construction that, and you're trying to focus on the client and keep your kid quiet, and you can't do it all just real well, okay? And he had gone to the bathroom and started screaming that there's no toilet paper. And from that day on, I have carried things in my car. So I have those things in my car. We ended up finding a house like 3 or 4. My client went and found a house like 3 or 4 houses down and found some toilet paper, mortified. But those people ended up buying and selling another. So, broke the ice, so we were connected. But there at the beginning, I really had to learn to maybe not push myself so hard, that it's okay to say no. And then to make sure I'm prepared. And so I carry things in my car in case that happens. But like for Hannah with you, when they are little, you can't just really leave them in the car like I can with Henry now. So you do really need somebody to drop them off with or to take them for sure.
I've had some similar stories to yours. I feel like just about every time that my boys have gone with me, there is an explosion of some sort.
Yes, it's like, what is it? You don't do this at home. Why here?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but yes. Yeah, I don't, but yeah, like I said, they've both been on showings with me, but I try not to do that because
I do too. Yeah, totally.
Wipes in the car, always.
It's so funny. And I remember one time I was showing to this young couple, and they didn't have any children, and they just had it all together, and they were so driven and had, like this 5-10 year plan, here I roll up and my kids in the back seat. And they were not originally from the South. So, there's that too. And so I remember she came to me in the back of the house, with her husband, and she's like, your son, he is hanging out the sunroof. I think you might need to go see to it. And he was blaring country music in this neighborhood. And he was probably 6 or 7, and he was hanging out the sunroof singing and jamming, and it was a nice neighborhood, nobody did that there. And I was just so mortified, but they still bought a house from me. But she did not find that humorous. She's like, you need to get your kid, because it's like
oh gosh,
but you have to love it.
That's what happens to me when I take one of mine, because mine are older, and yes,
it's like, let's see how far we can push, Mom, because I know she won't spank me in front of him, because I know that she's going to try to maintain face and not, yeah. But I used to carry the wooden spoon in the door of my car, and I don't anymore. And my husband sometimes is like, you really need to put that spoon back in your car. I mean, and some days I'm like, I should, but I've broken some spoons by banging it on the console of the car to get his, attention, not on him, but the car. And I'm sure that will be turned into DHS now because we spank our kids. Or I do. Okay, I'm not going to turn y'all in. You didn't say that you did. But anyway, juggling motherhood in any job is a feat. But real estate's different because you can't just shut it off. You really can't. So when you think of like the funniest stories, like are there just a funny story about your kid in real estate? I know we just talked about some, but what is something to you, Kristen? Do you have like just a funny story or something that is just appalling that your kid's done since you've been in real estate?
Yes, I do. So I had to take Reese with me. She was about, she was, I guess, 4. And so we walk into this house, and I'd already given her the lowdown. Now, you don't say anything, you be quiet, it won't take us long, and, you be good, or I'm going to, the wooden spoon. I carry it in my car as well. So anyway, it was a friend of mine, but anyway, so we walk in the door, and the first thing she says is, "Oh, mercy, Mama, this is horrible." And I said, "Reese, she said, Mama, I do not like this at all." So anyway, yes, that, like I said, thankfully it was a friend of mine, and she laughed. She had a little girl, so it was.
But you're mortified. But you're like, oh my gosh.
I was mortified because Reese is just Reese, and that's just that's how she is. And so when she speaks, it's like, what is she gonna say? I just want to like put my hand over her mouth and mute her. I wish she had a mute button at times. But
yes.
It was quite comical. My friend laughed, and the thing of it was, she was right. And so my friend said, "Yes, Reese, I agree with you. This is very
well. Reese could help you. It can help you sell houses. I mean, it could be a helpful tool."
Yes. So she was banned for a little while.
She was banned. It makes you sweat, doesn't it? It's like, just more so.
She's my vocal one, and so yeah. She's rolled the window down and said, "Mom, would you please quit talking and come on?" One day she said, "I am ready to go eat my chili." So anyway, yeah, we've had real.
Yeah, we have too. We've had those moments. Hannah, how about you?
Well, one of mine was similar to yours. Just the whole, couldn't hold it. It was a vacant house. Had to go, and went in his pants. And no, maybe we got to the bathroom, but same situation. Like there was no toilet paper, and he had to go home commando. And I won't even tell which one it was. Just
yeah.
That has happened. Another kind of funny one. This was actually before the kids were born. So I was working with a client for several months. I had been showing this guy houses, and then he took a break from looking at houses for a while, like 5 or 6 months. And then I showed him, he decided he wanted to look at another one. So I met him at the house. And in that time frame, I had gone from about 4 or 6 weeks pregnant to full-blown pregnant. And I'm sure I didn't tell him in the very beginning that I was pregnant. It never came up in conversation. It wasn't public information yet. And he shows up, and here I am, like big old pregnant. And he just kind of like didn't say anything for a while. And then finally I realized I should probably mention something, because he was being very, polite about it. He wasn't about, "Oh, what happened to you?" So I was like, "Oh yes, by the way, I'm pregnant. You don't have to be uncomfortable." And
you thought you'd just been eating tacos.
Oh, thank God. So that was a little awkward.
It's so funny.
Actually, so he ended up buying a house, and we closed on it whenever Benjamin was like teeny tiny, and that was his first closing. Benjamin's first closing was when he was about 3 or 4 weeks old.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Benjamin started straight from the womb into the real estate
Josh
world.
was when he was 3 days old. He showed up at a closing. Which
wow.
On that, I'm like, I was an insane person for that, but it was some close friends of ours, and I didn't want to not be at their closing. So. Yeah,
that's totally understandable. We want to make our closings, man. I mean, we're dedicated. Yeah. But back in the beginning, Hannah, when you were first talking, you said that being, you were in real estate before, and like Kristen and I, how it made you probably more organized, more task oriented. And I do believe that is so true. Because, for me, I take Henry to school and I pick him up, and he has activities after school. He's real involved in different things, and I take him and I pick him up. Now, there are times that I'm busy working and his daddy does that for me. Or if his daddy's not available, I rearrange my work schedule to get him there, because I do try to put him first, but at the same time, respect my work. But because I take him to school and pick him up, there's 6 good hours there of just good, hard work. So we have to stay, I think it keeps us very task oriented, and, I got to get this done and this done and this done, where we have to make good use of the hours that we have, whereas we might not be that organized if we didn't have that limited time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that is for all mamas, mamas of little ones that they're having to juggle and take care of. And like we have all said, I do think that we all three work for ERA Doty in Jonesboro. And I came from another brokerage that I worked at for almost 7 years. And I had good years there, and I worked with great people. Yet I do think that I'm in a better environment for myself as a mom at ERA. I feel like I'm surrounded by people like you who get it, like I can't stay up at the office today. I've got to do this. I just feel like there's mutual respect and encouragement there. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful that it isn't that, so many real estate brokerages and different real estate environments, I don't feel like ours is that way, are so competitive. I'm not going to tell you my business. You must see my weak points, but I don't feel that way. I feel like we actually are stronger and better because we can bounce it off each other and share with each other. And I'm just so fortunate at that, because I think there's too many moms that live in competition, or they live in this inferior state, and I'm so privileged that I could sit down with two of you, and we're working in the same community, trying to do the same job in sales. We're paid on commission, and a lot of us know the same people, but we do not have this cutthroat, I'm not talking to you, I don't want to get you too close. We don't work like that. And we're all three also women of faith. And I think that plays a big part in it too, is that we know what's true and what's not, and what's going to get us to the finish line. And some of those things don't matter. We're going to get there. We want to get there the right way. So I'm just real fortunate that. And this Mother's Day is such a challenge, because they can't take us out to eat. I don't think till Monday, right? The restaurants open here in Arkansas.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, this Mother's Day is different. We're not going to get pampered like we normally do, but we've had our kids at home. I know, Hannah, yours are normally in daycare and they're home with you, and
yes.
Kristen, you're normally out working. You keep lots of office hours, and you are a task-oriented girl, and you're used to having that time just like me, and yours are in school and they're with you now. Before we got on, I was doing division at Henry's desk. He was doing his AMI work and division with remainders, and y'all, that is not my best thing. I mean, that is not a hat that I need to be wearing. I do not need to be teaching division ever on any day. Okay.
No.
Yeah, luckily we're still on the alphabet. I got that.
You got the alphabet. Okay.
Yes, got the alphabet, got numbers. We can do it.
It took 3 adults to figure out one of Reese's. She had this word scramble, to figure out the pictures. I mean, it was like calling 3 adults to figure out what this picture. So yes, and it has been different. It has been, we've had to change the way we do things. I feel like you, Abby. I take the kids to school. I pick them up. So it has. We've had to incorporate some different ways of doing things, but we've made it, and it's been we've handled it well. The kids have adjusted well.
And I think all moms everywhere that work, this is a challenge for them, and I'm not wanting to water down or discount anything, but I think also for us, our kids, even yours, Hannah, is small as they are, they see us juggle. They see every day it looks different than the next day because of our work and our appointments, and none of our days look the same in real estate. And I think because of that, it's probably helped our kids a little bit, even like, Hannah, like as young as yours are, to know that, okay, we'll roll with the punches. Because when I pick Henry up from school, I may drop him off at piano or at the gym, but when I pick him up, we don't always go home. We may be going to a house in Truman or Paragould or Bono, or, we may be going to Timbuktu and back, or to 3 houses, or we may just be going home. He never knows. And your kids are probably the exact same. So they're able to roll with the punches and to know that every day is different.
Yes, every day is different. I mean, my kids get up in the mornings, well, Mom, what are you doing today? And I have Carson, he's very, he likes to know what you're going to do 2 weeks from now. So he's, that's just the way that he is. But anyway, yes, mine, it's a different day every day.
It is. And I do think that's helped them. I don't think it's helped us because we want to get out and go, but I think for them, they know that, that every day is different, and us doing things unconventionally to get the job done isn't new for them to see. I mean, they're used to seeing that about us and going the extra mile and doing things however we do to get it done and get it closed. Well, ladies, I want to wish y'all a very, very happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy Mother's Day to you too, Abby.
And I hope y'all have some closings in May, and you can pamper yourself with one of those closing checks or just a partial part of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for being on that 4th episode of Abby As Is for Mother's Day. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.